Hello, it's Andy from Email Love, and today I am going to give you a quick tour of the Email Love Figma plugin, showing you the key features and things that you need to know to get started successfully. So first things first, let's find the plugin in Figma, and you can do that by clicking on the little action icon at the bottom here, and then searching Email Love, and it should come up. If you open that up, okay, this is the plugin. There are a few welcome screens when you first open it. And if this is your first time using the plugin, you can use it for free. It comes with 10 free exports. And then if you do decide to buy a subscription, you can add your license key in here once you purchase it through Gumroad. Okay, so the plugin comes preloaded with over 100 different components that you can choose from. And we also have all of those components laid out in the Ultimate Email Design System file that is available on the Figma community. So I personally would advise you to find this file, duplicate it to your own Figma, and then begin creating your own email design system from these base components. This should cover most of the different layouts that you would want to use within your email. Okay, so now that we've covered that, let's build an email. And the first thing you will want to do is click on the plus icon here, and that is going to create a frame for you. You'll want to give your frame a relevant name. So typically this will be the name of the template or the name of the campaign that you want, because this is the name that gets assigned to the template inside of the email platform. So if you send this HTML to Braze or Iterable or Salesforce or whatever you're connecting to, this is what you're going to see in the template section of those platforms. Okay, now there are a few different ways to create your email. You can begin by selecting some of our components directly from here. So you can actually simply click on the component. It's not drag and drop. You don't need to drag from the plugin. You simply click on the component that you want to add to the frame. And then you can see it gets built out on the left-hand side. And if we actually take a look at one of these components, let's take a look at this hero component here. You can see that we use a framework on the left-hand side to navigation in the layers and frames section of Figma. And we use Mailchimp markup language, MJML, as the framework for these templates. The way that this works is it's fairly easy. You just need to understand that your content needs to be within a wrapper. Within the wrapper, you have a section, which is basically the row that contains your contents. And within the row or the section, you can have up to 5 or 6 different columns. And inside of the column is where you add your images, your text, and your buttons. And so it's fairly, once you understand the structure and you operate within it, then you shouldn't have too many issues. Okay, so I'm going to continue building out my email. I'm going to add a couple more sections, including a footer. It's important to add a footer, especially if you plan to use our integrations, because our footer will automatically merge in the unsubscribe link into your ESP. So let's just add one of our standard footers here. And it has the unsubscribe. It actually links to unsubscribe.com. And what we do at export is we switch out unsubscribe.com for the correct unsubscribe merge tag for your email platform. So that's how the unsubscribe works. And now we have a basic email template. Let's zoom in a little bit more. And to edit it, it's all visual, so any like marketer should be able to come in here and start typing away. You can copy and paste, and you can also, I would say you do everything in here that you would do in a drag and drop email builder. So to add a link to a button, you simply select the button, go into the properties tab, and then add your button URL. Same thing for images, just select your image, and then in properties you can add the image URL, the alt text, or you can even override your image if you are using a personalization tool like Movable Ink. Okay, so that's adding links. Adding links to a piece of text is slightly different. You would do that by selecting the piece of text and then using the create link native feature inside of Figma. So it's slightly different for text links. And so let's say that we like this email, but we think there's too much padding between the paragraph and the button, and we want to reduce that. We use auto layout in Figma, and this is a way to control padding. So rather than dragging things like this, if you want to change the spacing between elements, you use this padding panel over here, and you can apply padding to a wrapper, a column, or a text, image, or button frame. So it's fairly flexible. You can basically add padding to most things. And so I can see there is 58 pixels of padding above this button, and I can easily reduce that down to 35. So you can see here, that is how you change any spacing around sections. Here's another example. You can see there's 22 pixels of padding that's been applied to this column, and 22 above and below as well. And so I can also easily increase that padding as well. I would want to increase it on the other side just so it's even. Okay. There we go. So let's take a the other thing I'll mention actually is on the padding side, you may want different padding on a mobile device. And so you can also select any of these button, image, or text frames, or even a column or a wrapper. And if you go into mobile styles, you can change the desktop settings on a mobile device. And so I could change, maybe like I wanted to reduce the padding on the left and the right side of this button on mobile. I could do the same thing for the text. And I could also change the font size, the line height, the alignment. Basically, most of this stuff can be changed on a mobile device. You can also hide things on a desktop or a mobile if you want. So you might want to have a mobile specific image that only shows to those users. You can also, your columns will stack natively or like by default. You can turn off the stacking, or you can also reverse stack. So if you have kind of a text, image, text section, and you want it all to stack in the same way on mobile, you can use our reverse stack feature to achieve that. And then just before we get into the preview, the appearance tab is where you can somewhat control the light and the dark mode colors. The dark mode styling will be applied on iOS devices, but we cannot overwrite Gmail or Outlook dark mode styling. So Gmail and Outlook will typically just invert whatever color you have in the light mode version of the email, and unfortunately nothing we can do about that. Other things that you might want to do in here is text styles. So you might want to choose a global font. We have all of the Google fonts in here. You will also want a web-safe fallback font, and you can add your own custom fonts in here if you would like to do that. But just note that not everyone will see a custom font unless they have it installed on their computer. And then you can also do things like change the width of the email. Okay, so now we have our email looking good. We can preview it directly in the plugin and see how it looks on desktop and on mobile. So you can see here how it stacks. You can see I might want to change the padding of this button and the padding of this section up here. And actually I can do that by clicking on this little settings icon and then going into mobile styles. And so I could easily select the H1 headline here, and I can update how that is rendering. Okay, so let's close that out, and then that will update the preview for me. So you can see here, hello is now left aligned in line with the paragraph text. Okay, so now that we have our email, we can also view it in dark mode. And then if we click on export, there's a few different options here. In the top drop down is where you choose your export method. So you can download the HTML, you could download MJML, or you could export directly to the email platform. And we have integrations with Klaviyo, Mailchimp, Braze, Iterable, MoEngage, Salesforce. A few of these are downloads rather than actual API integrations due to a lack of APIs. But when there is an API, we are using that to upload to that platform. Here's an example for Iterable where I've added the Iterable API key. I've selected the location of my account, and then I can now click on this blue button and it will upload this email as HTML into the templates section of that platform. And all of the images will be hosted, so you don't need to re-upload those unless you choose the download HTML option. The images can be hosted, but you can also download them as a separate zip file if you wish. A couple of other features in here that may be useful. You can add the subject line and the pre-header text. This will get merged into the template if you integrate with one of the email platforms. And then you can send yourself a test directly from here if you want. Or you could also simply copy the HTML and it will give you a box where you can copy that from. So here is the actual HTML for that email, and I could also just copy and paste that into my ESP. Okay, that is pretty much a good overview of how the plugin works. There are some very specific Figma features that you should be aware of as well. The plugin works very nicely with Figma components, and so this is a Figma component here. It has, you know it's a component because it has this purple border and the little diamond icon, and what that does is it will automatically add this component to a library inside, an asset library inside of Figma. And so rather than building emails directly from the components in the plugin, you could customize your components and then they will automatically appear in a library like this in Figma. And this enables you to choose a component. You can apply properties to it, so you can turn things on or off, and then you can insert this instance. And then obviously you can bring this into your email. And obviously, yeah, all of these can be fully customized for your own branding. So that's one thing I would probably do first to get started, is get this file and then start customizing the components for your own brand. Okay, so that's all I'm going to share today. That is a lot to take in. That it is definitely worth watching some of the training videos because there are some nuances, but most of your questions should be answered in our help docs. So take a look at those or reach out to myself and our team on our Discord, the email up Discord community. Hope that helps. Thank you so much for watching.